Hi, it's Brian. Welcome to the Awards Contender. I'm very excited to talk about SAG predictions today with a very special guest. Today on my channel, I have the film drunk. How are we doing, Jonathan?
What's up? What's up? Thanks for having me. I knew it was only a matter of time before we did something. So it's good that we're getting the SAG out of the way here in November.
Yeah, so we are recording this Thanksgiving week. We're just days away from the Golden Globe nominations, Critics' Choice nominations. SAG does not release their nominations until January 8th, so there is some time there. And SAG, as we find year to year, doesn't always 100% line up with Golden Globes or the Oscars. What has been your relationship with the SAG Awards, Jonathan? What do you think of SAG?
Yeah, on one hand, they're like the most important to me, and on the other hand, they do some stuff where it's so easy to just dismiss. But at the end of the day, the actors branch is the biggest branch in the Academy, especially with how it's gone the past few years. I think SAG, who wins, is insanely important. So they are one of the biggest precursors for the Oscars, definitely.
Yeah, they don't always get it exactly right. As we found out with Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, pretty much everybody flocked to her after she won that. And I was like, no, it's going to be Emma Stone. But usually, if somebody wins at Golden Globes and Critics' Choice, but then someone else, say, wins at SAG, usually it's the smart choice to kind of go towards that person.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
there are so many actors in the Academy. But so I've given some Golden Globe predictions with Matt Neglia. Obviously, I've been doing lots of early Oscar predictions. Let's talk about SAG, and we are going to begin with Best Actress. So I will give you a couple of my predictions, and then Jonathan will give one, and we'll go back and forth. So at the top of my list in Best Actress, I still have Mikey Madison for Honora. I don't know if she's going to sweep the season. I don't know if she's going to win everything. That might not happen. But she's definitely getting a SAG nomination, right?
Sure. If she misses SAG, everything is out the window for me. Legitimately, everything is out the window if she misses SAG. I do agree that she's at the top of my list. Two, I also agree she doesn't feel like a sweeper. That would be pretty shocking if she just ran the table with everybody. So with SAG being kind of, I don't know, the winners at least being later, closer towards the Oscars, I do think this is where she'll really start to pick up steam, especially if you are predicting her to win the Oscar, which I am as of now.
Yeah, she's my pick right now for the Oscar. I'm trying to figure out where she loses. She's going to be in comedy or musical at the Golden Globes. She's probably winning that. I think she would be the Critics' Choice to win, right? I mean, maybe Angelina Jolie could take that or something along the way.
Yeah.
But I do think Mikey Madison is going to win SAG, especially if she's going to win the Oscar. I think she is going to need that because SAG is so close to the Oscars. As we found out with Lily Gladstone, it's possible to lose that and then still win the Oscar. But I think Mikey Madison is in a good place right now. My other top choice is Angelina Jolie for Maria. Have you seen that movie? I haven't seen it yet. Hopefully soon.
I have. Yeah, I saw it a few weeks ago. Ago.
Is she guaranteed nominations all season long?
I guess. I think it's a very good performance. I think the movie overall, is solid enough. It is probably my least favorite of the, Pablo Larraín unofficial trilogy, but she definitely does enough. She has enough moments, and I would have her second, just because you can never fully discount the career, the narrative, the status of said actor, especially when compared to, in the grand scheme of things, an unknown in Mikey Madison.
Right. Yeah, that's the one thing about Mikey Madison I go back to when I think about her winning everything. I'm like, she's pretty young. She's 25, 26, and she's kind of new. She's been in a couple things like Scream and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But I don't know if every voter is going to be we have to award her, everything this season. Whereas Angelina Jolie You know, I mean, she is one of the big movie stars who has gotten in at the Oscars before. She won for Girl Interrupted. Like, could SAG maybe go for Angelina Jolie over Mikey Madison because Jolie is more established? Like, that could happen.
That totally could happen, and it's not lost on me, the Netflix of it all. You know, it is something that we're trying to gauge now that Netflix kind of, I don't want to say has control over SAG, but is broadcasting it. You don't want to just say, oh, they're a Netflix, therefore. But it is like a new thing that I think pundits kind of have to reckon with at least a little bit. But I don't know. I just can't. I don't really see the passion for that performance to carry her to a victory.
Right. It's a movie that might compete in some technical categories, but like in picture, director, screenplay, it's not even being talked about.
Yeah,
so
goodbye.
I think that hurts. Yeah, I think that hurts Jolie a little bit. That's why I've been so confident about Mikey Madison, is because she's in this amazing movie that's going to get into picture, director, and so many things.
Yeah.
But I think Jolie is absolutely getting in at SAG. So who do you have next? Who's another person you think gets in at SAG and Best Actress?
So we do have to think a little differently with SAG versus who gets the Oscar. I think typically speaking, SAG doesn't really go for a lot of international performances. I think of Sandra Hüller, that pretty much everyone was like, she is a lock.
Right.
She missed SAG. So there's that. There's a lot of, I don't know, populist choices, I guess, especially now that they are allowing more influencers into SAG. But my personal feelings aside on this movie, I still will have Carla Sofia Gasson for Emilia Perez, because I think that movie will do very well at the end of the day.
Yeah, I have her in third too. I know there's been, you know, some pushback against that movie the last few weeks. I mean, it's been kind of intense.
Yeah.
And there is a small part of me that's like, could that movie fade? Like, by SAG Oscars, could that movie like just get into supporting actress for Zoe Saldana and nothing else? Like, I think no matter what happens at the Oscars, I think that film does well at SAG. I think it gets into cast.
I agree.
Supporting actress, like that would surprise me. And it's hard because Best Actress is so freaking competitive. There's like a good 10 contenders there. And so it's like, you know, Carla Sofia Gascon gives a great performance in that movie. She's not in the whole thing. It's kind of an ensemble piece. So you could argue like, well, like, is that deserving of like lead? But I think it's one of those performances that does stand out this season. And I think she gets in at SAG.
Yeah. It's hard to deny the Emilia Perez of it all. I will say, I don't know if you're like this, but when I'm a guest on someone else's thing, I feel more comfortable just being like totally like out there. So I have no problem saying I would love a world if Emilia Perez faded away slowly and surely. So I'm only saying that because like I'm objective here. You know, I think Emilia Perez will do well at SAG. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, it's a movie actors are going to respond to. That's why I think it will get into a bunch of places at the Oscars too.
Yeah.
So those three, I mean, I feel like most people would have those three. Then you get to slots 4 and 5, and you have options. Now, for my number 4 spots, I am going with Nicole Kidman for Baby Girl. SAG loves Nicole Kidman. I don't know if you looked, like, she gets in there all the time. She got in for The Paperboy. She got in for Bombshell. Like SAG gives her almost everything. Like when she's in a film, she gives a great performance in something. Usually, even if she misses at the Oscars, she gets in at SAG. So I wouldn't even have Kidman in slot 5. I would have her in 4. Like, I think that's going to happen. What do you think?
Well, I thought I was going to be the one to bring out that card here, but we're in alignment. Nicole Kidman, that just feels like such a SAG thing to do. Not only because it's Nicole Kidman, but the buzz on Baby Girl, regardless of how people feel about the movie, there is genuine buzz and excitement around that movie, which I think A24 has been smart to kind of slowly build up. It just feels like the kind of movie that actors will respond to, especially with an actress of Nicole Kidman's stature. So I have her at 4 as well.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, I'm like, is she in slot 4, like, to actually win? I feel like in some ways she could have a better chance than Carla Sofia Gascon, and like, it's possible, but like, could Nicole Kidman win anywhere this season? Like, that's the big question I have. Like, could she beat Angelina Jolie at Golden Globes, like, in a shocker? It's a really great performance, and that's one of my favorite films of the year. So I would love to see it. It's sometimes not that I haven't seen Maria, but sometimes it's like, okay, well, she's playing a real person, so she has to win. It's like, that gets kind of old after a while.
Yeah.
And I think it's Kidman's best work in a movie since Rabbit Hole 14 years ago. I just think she's great. So I'm still thinking she gets in at the Oscars. I'm like crossing my fingers, but I feel like I feel pretty certain she makes it in at SAG.
Yeah, I agree. And the winning conversation, I had a tweet asking for people's like hot takes about the Oscars. There were a few that said no one's talking about Nicole Kidman possibly winning, which I personally wouldn't go that far. But when you do think of something like the narrative, the career for Angelina Jolie, I feel like there is a little bit more buzz building for Nicole Kidman, at least for her movie as well. So that's something to think about for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, she's a workaholic too. I mean, she's in like a new project every month since the summer, film and TV. I don't know if that helps her or hurts her in the long run. Like, people might just be like, enough. But I think Baby Girl is on another level of all of these other things she's doing. So, yeah, I think she gets in for that. So that's 4. We're in alignment. Who do you have in slot 5 at SAG in Best Actress?
I have Cynthia Erivo for Wicked.
Okay.
Number
Why
5.
do you think Cynthia Erivo?
Well, maybe it's just because, I'm writing off of recency bias for Wicked, which I'm totally open for that being the reason. But my personal feelings on Wicked aside, I feel like wouldn't SAG be by far the most embracing of Wicked? It fits almost the definition of almost every category. For ensemble, there's already buzz on Ariana Grande, and I think it makes sense for someone like Cynthia Erivo to get in. SAG has been very open for those kind of performances versus, like I said, some like international performance or a little bit more less showy performance. And if I do think Wicked is going to do well at the Oscars, which I do, I think it would have a strong showing at SAG.
Okay, yeah, no, I have her in my alternates, to be sure. Cynthia Erivo is like one of the big question marks this season. I mean, it's like she's clearly getting into Golden Globes because they have the 2 categories there. After that, I'm like, as I talked about in my review, like the big showy performance in that movie is Ariana Grande, and Erivo is a lot more internalized, and there's a lot of scenes in that movie where she's just kind of reacting to things, but she has that amazing number at the very end. I think that helps, to be sure. I do not see a path for her to the Oscars. I just don't think that's like an Oscar performance. Unless they just, all of these award ceremonies, they go nuts for Wicked, then we get Erivo in there, to be sure. I think you're right. I think she could make it in at SAG. But there's 2 other people that I'm really I'm thinking about that even if they didn't make it in at the Oscars, like they could get in there too. My 5th place slot, I have been thinking this since September, and I might be totally off on this, might be wrong. I think the 5th place slot at SAG and Best Actress is going to be Amy Adams for Night Bitch.
She's my main alternate.
Is that your main alternate?
Yep.
She got in for Hillbilly Elegy. And remember, like, that was a surprise. Like, I don't think she got nominated anywhere else that season. I mean, that was a weird season, to be sure. But I feel like SAG really likes Amy Adams, and that's a showy performance. She is the whole movie. She's in, like, every scene of that thing. And, like, I don't think she can make it to the Oscars, but I feel like actors are going to respond to Amy Adams and Night Bitch. It's coming out, I think, in a few days from Searchlight. And like, she's been making the rounds. I don't know if you've seen like online. She is like doing all sorts of Q&As and going around with that movie. And because it's such a showy performance, I feel like she can get in at Golden Globes. I don't know about Critics' Choice. I think SAG is going to go for Amy Adams. That's what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah. I mean, I can't argue with that at all. I really debated between Cynthia Erivo and Amy Adams for all the reasons you said. In fact, after TIFF, talking with people, I think I actually was gonna predict her, especially for something like SAG, and I still thought she could have gotten the Oscar back in September. I do think it is a performance that can resonate with actors. I guess I just ultimately lean for the stronger movie overall. That's really just what it comes down to. So I can't argue with that at all, though. She's my main alternate.
Yeah. The argument for Wicked is that can get into cast, that can get into, it's going to get into supporting actress for Ariana Grande. It's a better movie, I think, than Night Bitch. So it's like, okay, so an actress, we would have like Angelina Jolie and Nicole Kidman and Amy Adams all like just the lone nominee for their movie. So that does give me pause. I think you're right on that. Like, is it going to happen for 3 of the Best Actress nominees? Yeah. I mean, I guess we've probably seen that before in years past. I just, if Amy Adams doesn't make it in, I'll be like, okay, Brian, you should not have paid so much attention to the Hillbilly Elegy thing. Like, I just keep thinking about, I'm like, well, they gave her a nomination for that. So
it's fair. It's
fair.
Fair.
She's much better in Night Bitch. So, but it is a crowded field. Cynthia Erivo could make it in. My other big alternate, I would say, we haven't even mentioned her yet, is Demi Moore for The Substance. Do you think she could get in at SAG?
Yeah, she's one of my alternate. I think she could get in at SAG. I talked about this briefly on a previous video of mine. I feel like by now you kind of have to take a stance on where you feel about The Substance. Yeah. Like some people, it's like Substance is getting multiple nominations, and some are like, it's lucky if it gets makeup. I'm a doubter for the Oscars. I like the movie. It's really hard for me to envision them doing that. And maybe it's just because I have PTSD of all the other great horror performances that like build up steam only to end up in pain. So, and this one is just the full body horror of it all. It's hard for me to see, but she is absolutely a possibility still. The Substance does have genuine buzz surrounding it that has lasted. So I think it's a good pick for an alternate.
Yeah, I mean, for Demi Moore to get in, like, we would have to probably take out Erivo. We would take out Amy Adams. Like, Moore would be the 5th place slot, I think. Like, she wouldn't have a chance to win or anything. So, yeah, it is a big question mark right now, like, how The Substance is going to do. I am also a doubter. I am, like, preparing myself for the movie at the Oscars to just get makeup and nothing else. And maybe even, like, it doesn't get in there anymore.
Yeah, right.
It is kind of a film Twitter thing. I feel like, is it really like critics and industry people, are they really going to go for The Substance over so many other contenders? I love Demi Moore's performance in that. It's her best work, I think, going back to the 80s. Like, she's done a lot of good films, good performances. I think The Substance is her best. So I would love to see it. I'm in that really nice middle ground where I'm not really predicting it to happen, but if it does, I'll be very happy. So it's like,
right, exactly.
And then the one other person, Saoirse Ronan for The Outrun, I do think her chances have faded a lot. I don't think she's 100% out of it. I think she could just get in at, let's say, Golden Globes and BAFTA, and she could surprise on Oscar nominations morning, get that 5th place slot. It's possible, but I think that performance, as strong as it is, I don't see it being a SAG-friendly performance in a way. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think she's out for the Oscar. Sony Pictures Classics, which is handling The Outrun, they are very good at getting those sneaky acting nominations where it feels like they're tanking only for them to get the nomination at the end of the day. Totally possible. I agree with you though, with The Outrun, and having seen it myself, it doesn't feel like something that SAG will go for. I feel like they will prioritize other performances in bigger movies. So yeah. I don't see it.
All right, so for Best Actress at SAG, my early predictions right now are Mikey Madison, Honora, Angelina Jolie, Maria, Carla Sofia Gascon, Amelia Perez, Nicole Kidman, Baby Girl, and Amy Adams, Night Bitch. Instead of Amy Adams, you are going with Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. You know what just popped into my mind, Jonathan? We didn't even mention Kate Winslet for Lee.
Oh, yeah.
It just occurred to me.
That's a reason. Yeah.
It just occurred to me. Like she is out there. Like, where is that picture with DiCaprio? Like, I mean, like she's doing screenings for that movie. Is that going to come out of nowhere?
I really don't know if I can take another Andrea Riseborough situation. It's like it's Frances Fisher who handled Andrea Riseborough campaign. She is doing the Lee campaign. The Rock tweeted about Kate Winslet and Lee. I just don't believe you watched that movie, The Rock. I just don't believe you did. I'm sorry. I just don't believe you. But yeah, Leo has tweeted about it. I can't predict that because like I just can't. I can't predict it. But I'm genuinely already like prepping myself for that.
I think we need to prepare ourselves a little bit for Kate Winslet and Lee. Like, I do not see that happening, but I mean, she's beloved. She gets nominated for so many things. I just think Best Actress is so competitive this year. That would feel very wrong to me that she would get in over like a Demi Moore, Cynthia Erivo, Nicole Kidman or something. I would lose my shit.
That'd be very upsetting. But it is more of a possibility than I think even at this time the Andrea Riseborough thing, because with all due respect to Andrea Riseborough, this is Kate Winslet. Like, Kate Winslet is on a different level. So if they're doing that same campaign, but you just swap out Riseborough with Kate Winslet, that makes me nervous.
All right, moving on to Best Actor at SAG. I have at the top of my list Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. Do we think he's getting in?
He better. he better get in. I better not see one snub for his performance. I'm like blown away by his performance in that movie. It is by far my personal pick, but regardless if you think he's going to win or not, he is absolutely getting a SAG nomination. He has to.
Yeah, like, I don't know how SAG members could watch that movie and be like, no.
It was okay. Mid-performance.
He's in my 7th place. No. Yeah, I think he's definitely getting in. He is another figure, kind of like Mikey Madison. Like, how much is he actually going to win this season? Can he sweep? Like, in some ways, I don't think that's going to happen for Adrian Brody. I don't think he wins everything. He is still my front runner right now. He is sure getting in at SAG.
Yeah, it's tough because the work is so strong, but when I have to take a step back and when I look at The Brutalist overall, like you never know how it's gonna go over. Like, it's not lost on me that The Brutalist is a very long, cold, challenging movie. Whereas something like Conclave, you can just put it on and have lots of fun and be like, wow, that was great. Like, what a great time. So that's the one concerning part. But gosh, I just can't imagine actors watching his performance and being like anything less than amazed.
Yeah. I mean, as of now, like, I need to see A Complete Unknown. I'm hearing good things about Chalamet in that, and that's probably a little bit flashier. It's like a real life figure. But right now, I'm just getting a sense that like voters are going to go for Adrian Brody. Like, it's like if you like that movie, love The Brutalist, like you have to like really adore his work in that. So yeah, my other top choice is Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown. I think like reviews finally started coming out. Not everybody is loving the movie, but I'm hearing he's really solid in it. Like, he just needed to be good. Like, to break in and be nominated everywhere. He's had an amazing year also with Dune Part 2. And Best Actor is very light this year. It's very strange. It's like just trying to find that fifth person has been tough, which is not always the case in this category. So yeah, I think Chalamet is getting in, and for sure at SAG. Like, that's happening.
Yeah. Chalamet got in for Beautiful Boy as well, even though he didn't get in for the Oscar at SAG, I believe. Chalamet, now that we are getting more reviews, like you said, even the people who aren't loving the movie, they are shouting him out. And so it does seem like a very lived-in performance versus just an impersonation. You never know how it goes with these music biopics, but it feels close to just a lock, like an easy lock. Like you said, it couldn't have been awful. It just has to be decent. If it's decent, congratulations, like Oscar.
Yeah. Yeah, now I feel like in some ways, like SAG is where Chalamet could win over Brody. Like if there's enough people who just really respond to Chalamet's work in that movie because he's playing a real life figure, Bob Dylan, who so many people adore and things. I feel like if there was some place where Brody could not win, it might be SAG. But I feel pretty confident that Chalamet is in there to be sure. He's probably in second place. Who is your third place person for Best Actor?
So our order might be a little different because Chalamet actually isn't my second.
Oh, okay.
I would put Ralph Fiennes in next. And it kind of goes back to what I said. He has a nice combination of things going for him. Not only is the career behind him, people love him, he's incredibly well respected. He hasn't been nominated for an Oscar since Schindler's List, so there's that huge gap in between.
English Patient. I've made that mistake before.
Yeah.
I've made that mistake on my channel before.
Did I say Schindler's List?
Schindler's List was first, and then English Patient was 3 years later.
Oh, he got in for English? I thought he was snubbed for English Patient.
Yeah. I did a video months ago where I was talking about how stupid it is that Ralph Fiennes only has the one Oscar nomination for Schindler's List. And trust me, the next morning I woke up to 50 comments that said, wow. Hello, English Patient. I had forgotten that he got into Best Actor for that movie. So I'm not alone.
That's a Mandela effect. Like, what the heck? I was so calm that he missed for that. But okay, fair enough. It's been a long time since he's been nominated.
It's been like 3 decades.
It's been a long time. So when you combine that with the fact that, as I mentioned, Conclave is just such an easy movie to put on for people and for them to just enjoy, even though I don't think he has necessarily like the showier moments that someone like Brody or even Coleman Domingo does. He's not playing a real life person like Timothée Chalamet is. I just think the package is there for him to be close. So I have him next.
Yeah, he has the overdue factor more than like Brody and Chalamet. Chalamet is still very young, so like if you wanted to give like a more veteran actor who's been around a long time, who's been really doing fantastic work for decades, Ralph Fiennes is that person this year. I just worry that the performance is very internal, and he's got a couple moments like of emotion where he cries and things. But it's not the kind of performance I necessarily see winning anywhere unless they just want to go for the overdue factor of it all. That's why I have Chalamet in second, because it's a very different kind of performance than what Brody is doing. Whereas I feel like Brody and Fiennes, like in terms of not that the performances are the same, but they're both kind of like more dramas and things like there's not like the musical aspect of it all. But I think it's close. I would put Chalamet and Fiennes pretty close together. Yeah. Like they're kind of hovering around second place. If there's anyone who could beat Brody, I think it would be one of those two, if that were to happen.
Yeah.
I think those are the three everybody has. Like, I mean, if Ralph Fiennes missed somewhere, that would be shocking.
That'd be crazy. Right? Just more disrespect. More disrespect on my guy.
But sometimes it's fun, right? When there's just total chaos. If at SAG they snubbed Mikey Madison, Adrian Brody.
Oh my God.
Like, what?
Oh my God.
Okay, SAG.
Oof.
No, I don't think that'll happen. So my fourth place slot, I sure hope Sing Sing keeps going. Because as I've talked about on my channel a little bit, they really bungled that release in the summer. Like it never came to my town. I had to go to publicists like, can I see this movie so I can talk about it on my channel? And it's just a fantastic film. Coleman Domingo is amazing in it. It's a great performance. I think he's safe this season. I can't imagine him missing. Even if Sing Sing really underperformed, I feel like he still gets into Best Actor. Again, because the category is pretty light. And like anybody who watches Sing Sing is going to really value his performance. So I think at SAG, he gets in.
I agree. And Sing Sing overall has such a variance to it. Like if you told me this thing just becomes nothing and it just falters out at the end, I would believe you. And also if you told me this thing picks up steam with its re-release that is coming and it wins Best Picture, like I would also believe that, because this is that kind of year where anything is on the table. And for the people who do watch Sing Sing, it is hard not to be emotionally connected to it. Whereas, like I mentioned, The Brutalist is very cold and cut off. From reviews, it sounds like a complete unknown, is a little brooding, a little mysterious, a little not as sensational as like, you know, the Bohemian Rhapsodies of it all. So that's a question mark for sure, but I agree. Domingo gets in regardless, and he's too well respected as well.
Yeah, I think it helps that he just did very well with Rustin, you know, just months ago. I think that helps him a little bit. And yeah, like my only worry is that Sing Sing, just for whatever reason, just never really transcends once we get to like January, February. But for the nomination of SAG, I think he makes it.
Yep.
Fifth place, Best Actor, has been really tricky. Like, I mean, it could go 5-6 different ways, and I think whoever gets the fifth place slot at SAG doesn't necessarily get in at the Oscars. So what are you thinking for SAG in that final slot?
All right. As you mentioned, we have a lot of different options, and I will preface this by saying I don't think this fifth slot is going to translate to the Oscar. But when I look at the field, I am going to take a swing. I'm going to say Glenn Powell gets in for Hitman.
Okay. Glenn Powell for Hitman. I've been thinking about that one a lot. So why do you think Glenn Powell makes it in at SAG?
All right. So I think he could win the Golden Globe comedy. That's number one. So he will be put potentially on a platform for him to go up there, be his charming self, and give a speech, which we all know helps. It at the very least helps, because I don't even know who's his main like competition in comedy actor. Like I have to rethink about
Jesse Eisenberg for Real Pain. Basically, that's
Jesse
it.
Eisenberg. Like some people say Gabriel LaBelle on Saturday Night. Like no, like so I think that is very possible. He is everywhere, especially this year. It just feels like he is like everywhere. He's like popping up all the time. And if he actually does manage to get out there and at least give like a half-hearted campaign, especially at SAG, that's where it could happen. Like Adam Sandler for Hustle happened. Right. Hitman is a Netflix movie, which again, as we mentioned, like I'm just throwing it out there. It's a Netflix movie. So they could really push that for something like SAG instead of like the Academy going for it. And when I look at the other nominees, in a weird way, he just has the least amount of red flags for me. So I'm going to go for Glenn Powell. I don't think it'll translate, as I mentioned. So he's not my Oscar fifth. But for SAG, why not go for it?
Yeah, he's my main alternate too. But I'm not going with Glenn Powell. This is my biggest swing of the whole video. This one's out there, John.
Okay. All right, hit me with it.
Kingsley Ben-Adir, Bob Marley, One Love. Yep, I think because there's so much chaos in that fifth place slot, I think he gets the Jennifer Hudson Respect nomination. Like the one big awards nomination all season. Now, the one thing about that gives me pause is that we already have a performance of Bob Dylan in the category. Like, would they have it twice? Like, also Bob Marley? I don't know. But, like, I've been hearing that they're pushing that. Like, he's doing the rounds a little bit. And even though that movie came out back in February, and I watched it, it was fine. He gave a very good performance in it. So, like, if it gets to enough SAG voters, if they push that, I think he could take the fifth place slot. And that's who I'm predicting.
Yeah, I definitely thought about that. And being totally honest, I just didn't want to do it. That's like that's like my main reasoning. Is like I didn't want to do it. I feel like this is coming out of nowhere, kind of. Like I can't tell, and I'm not saying this is what you're doing, but I'm like, I can never tell if it's like we don't know what this slot is and we are like kind of bored that we're purposefully like reaching deep in the bag for it. But the Jennifer Hudson Respect, that is a very good comp. And I thought about that. It makes sense. I haven't even seen the movie. I'm sure he gives a great performance. He's great
good.
Actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure. So that is a fair choice. It is just my stubbornness. I just did not want to do it.
Yeah, no, Glenn Powell was close. I was thinking about him too. I just feel like the comedic nature of that movie. Like, I don't know. Like that's where I'm like, oh, I don't know. So Golden Globes are on January 5th, and then the SAG nominations are on January 8th. So I think the votes will be in before the ceremony.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be like, oh, Glenn Powell won and let's vote for him now. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the votes will be in. So, like I will not be surprised if that is just some weird thing and Kingsley Ben-Adir doesn't show up anywhere. I just feel like if he got in somewhere, SAG feels like that could happen. So I'm not confident about that, but like we'll see.
Yeah.
Who's another alternate? Do you have Jesse Eisenberg as an alternate?
Yeah, I have Jesse Eisenberg in. Yeah, he's like an borderline alternate kind of, but I would include him. A Real Pain is interesting. I don't know. I feel like most of the love for Jesse Eisenberg, and I say this as someone, maybe the hot take, I prefer Jesse Eisenberg's performance to Kieran Culkin's in that movie. But I feel like the love for Jesse Eisenberg will go with the screenplay nomination. Like, congratulations, there you go, as a writer. And all the focus is on Kieran Culkin's performance. So that one's tough, but if A Real Pain is just like a Best Picture thing, a screenplay, a Culkin, it makes sense for Jesse Eisenberg to be on the voters' mind. And he's Jesse Eisenberg. Like, he has a career behind him. He's established already. People love working with him. It makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought that he could maybe get into the Oscars in that 5th place if there's just like no consensus who gets that. Like if Daniel Queer
Daniel Queer.
If Daniel Craig for Queer doesn't happen ultimately, like I don't think Daniel Craig can get in at SAG. That's just not a real SAG-friendly performance. I would be surprised if he got in there. I do think he gets in at Golden Globes, for sure. Yeah. Could also get in at Critics' Choice with the 6 slots. I think Daniel Craig gets into the first 2. I don't think he gets in at SAG. Like, he could still get the final slot at the Oscars, but I'm not seeing it right now. I had some problems with that movie. But he's good in it. He's fine. Like, he's an alternate.
Yeah, I agree with you. Coming out of TIFF after seeing Queer, I was like, goodbye. Like, goodbye, Daniel Craig. Now, that seemed a little premature because there is still the path for it that I acknowledge. But at least for SAG, I don't know. I know he's Daniel Craig, but that movie, I don't know how it would do at SAG.
Yeah, like, I think he probably gets the BAFTA nomination. So
feels likely.
It's like if he can get Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, BAFTA, and like we can't decide what to do in that final slot at the Oscars, like Daniel Craig could do it. And I won't be mad about it. I won't be sad. Like, I love Daniel Craig. He's never received an Oscar nomination, so that would be cool. I just didn't care for the movie that much in the second half.
I'm with you.
Anyone else in the alternates? I think that's everybody. There's really, there's not much in the sector.
Yeah, I mean,
that's it.
There's like a part of me that wonders if there's like almost like a backlash to the backlash of The Apprentice and Sebastian Stan. I am a little curious about that, especially with the actors branch. Like, I understand the actors on actors. Everyone's going to throw that at me and be like, this is why it's done. But I almost wonder if that will then like swing around and then be like, maybe we should acknowledge The Apprentice. I obviously don't have it. I just wanted to throw it out there because that is one of the big question marks, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like one of two things happens. Like, The Apprentice is just a goose egg. Nothing. That gets nothing. Or he does show up at Golden Globes and he does get in at SAG. Like, it's possible. It's a weird time right now. I don't think that's going to happen for The Apprentice.
Yeah.
But it's not impossible.
Yeah.
It's not impossible. Okay, so for Best Actor, I have Adrian Brody, The Brutalist, Timothée Chalamet, A Complete Unknown, Ralph Fiennes, Conclave, Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing, and Kingsley Ben-Adir, Bob Marley, One Love. Your 5th place slot is
Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell for Hitman. In some ways, I feel like Glenn Powell is the safer prediction. Like, that makes more sense in a way, but I'm just kind of taking a swing there. I could be wrong.
Yeah, we got to take a swing.
We shall see. All right, Best Supporting Actress. Oh boy, this has been an embarrassing category for me this season. I don't know about you. up until a few weeks ago, I wasn't even considering Ariana Grande. I was like, that might be a Golden Globes thing. But like nothing else. And then I saw the movie, and she is just a superstar in that film. It is a brilliant comic performance. I mean, she steals that movie. She's incredible. So I'm like, oh, okay. Nice work, Brian. Good job. You're really fantastic at this. So yeah, I don't know if she's necessarily going to win everywhere. Like, that remains to be seen. Wicked is 2 movies. That's also a question mark, right? Let's say Ariana Grande just swept. She won everything. But what happens with part 2? It's like, okay. It's kind of weird.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
But so in my top 2 right now in supporting actress, I have Ariana Grande for Wicked and Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. Like, I mean, for a while, I thought Saldana would be the front runner. But like, Emilia Perez has faded a little bit. And I feel like because both movies are musicals, there might be like more attention put on Ariana Grande in the weeks to come. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. And again, I don't know what to do with Emilia Perez because I don't want to just... I have my own personal feelings about it, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm just putting my own feelings towards it. But there is a legitimate question on how it'll sustain the rest of the awards year, especially now that I feel like reviews are just going down and down overall. But I would have them as my top 2. I'm not ready to put Ariana Grande at like a number 1.
Me neither.
And I would still have Zoe Saldana in at number 1 because I just think, you know, the respect as an actor, the career's there way more than Ariana Grande. I feel like this feels like a moment for Zoe Saldana that she's been waiting for, whereas Ariana Grande, it's been like Cat in Victorious from Nickelodeon, and then like Don't Look Up. Like I don't even know like what else really. So I feel like this is a like welcome to the big leagues for Ariana Grande, but they're gonna award Zoe Saldana as of this moment.
Yeah, like I've thought about that, how Grande doesn't have like, 10 great film performances behind her or anything. But there was also Jennifer Hudson for Dreamgirls, right? That was her first movie.
Totally.
And she just came out of nowhere.
That's true. That's fair. That's totally fair. That's a great comp.
Like, I feel like Grande, if there's enough passion for that film and her performance, and there are enough voters just kind of like softening on Emilia Perez, they're like, it's okay, but I really, really loved Grande and Wicked. Like, that could be like the big win of the season for that movie would be in supporting actress. So I don't know. Like, it remains to be seen. I think no matter what, Grande and Saldana are definitely getting in. Yeah. So who do you have in third place in supporting actress?
This category, I don't know how you feel about it, but this category is really tough for me. Like
it's a bit weird, yeah.
It's like I'm already genuinely struggling after like the top 2, where I was like, oof, like I don't know. I will, and I haven't even seen this movie yet. I will stick with Danielle Deadwyler in The Piano Lesson. I never like to do just every nominee is a Best Picture thing. Like I don't really like to do that. That isn't the case for almost every year. There's always someone that pops in that isn't in a Best Picture movie. I feel like Danielle Deadwyler would still get in, like I could bring up, her snub of Till, which maybe could influence that for sure. And I guess we'll talk about The Piano Lesson maybe later, but I will still have her in at 3. I don't feel great about it though.
Yeah, Danielle Deadwyler is a bit of a head scratcher right now because like I don't see The Piano Lesson getting in anywhere else. Like maybe one technical category or something at the Oscars, but like I didn't really care for that movie very much. It was in my bottom 6 or 7. I saw at TIFF. I liked elements of it, especially her performance. It was fantastic. She did get in at SAG for Till. Like she was snubbed at the Oscars, but the SAG nomination happened.
Correct.
And I feel like that is one of the stronger performances we have right now in supporting actress. And in a field of 5 from actors, I think they're going to want to give The Piano Lesson something at SAG. So I have her in too. She would be in my 3rd or 4th place. but like I am a little concerned about her moving toward like BAFTA and the Oscars. I feel like if a performance could slip out, it would be that one. So it would happen. It would happen again. Like, God, like, she's so talented. She's so great. I still think her performance in Till was one of like the 5 best of any category in 2022. She was so good in that. I'm like, really? Just because the movie's not performing well, she can't make it in? So I keep going back to that. I'm like, well, like maybe enough voters, like even in the Academy, are like, okay, like let's get her in this time for Piano Lesson. Like there's room in that category because someone I have out now after having seen the movie, like I don't think Saoirse Ronan for Blitz is going to be a thing. Do you have her in for SAG?
No.
I was like, I watched that movie a couple nights ago as of this recording, and like it's very lovely, like cinematography and certain things, but like it didn't really work for me. And she's fine in it, but I'm like, if we're going to give Saoirse Ronan nominations this year, it should be for The Outrun. That is a much better performance. So part of me is like let's not go for that performance in Blitz. Let's lift up The Outrun. So I don't I think she might get in a couple places for Blitz, but the movie's just not very strong. So I don't see her going past like Golden Globes. Like I think she probably misses at SAG for that.
Yeah. If Saoirse Ronan gets nominated for Blitz, then she's genuinely Meryl Streep. Like that. There's like no question. She is the next Meryl Streep. I agree with you. I saw Blitz. I was lucky enough to catch it in the theater, like for some press screening. And man, that movie is just, that was a disappointment for me personally. And she doesn't have a ton to do either. Like her character is pretty one note. Yeah. So if she gets in for Blitz, Meryl Streep, I'll predict her in everything.
Yeah, like there's a scene where she sings. There's a pretty good scene where she like lashes out at these guys who bump into her like black boyfriend, and like she's got a couple like big moments. There's a moment toward the end where she's crying in a corner. Like she's got a couple moments like in the movie that you could like put as her clip. Sure. So like I wouldn't say it's impossible. She might get in at SAG for that if she were to like get into the first couple, like maybe. But I don't see that right now. I have kind of around Danielle Deadwyler. I still have Felicity Jones for The Brutalist. I think she's amazing in that movie. I would like to see her get in everywhere this season. I hope she can make it in at SAG.
Yeah, I have her next as well. The first time I saw The Brutalist, I thought she was good. I didn't care for that character, but I did rewatch The Brutalist, and she does stick out a lot more now. And I feel like my problems over that character weren't as large there. So there was a part of me, in fact, like an hour ago, I was going to come on here and be like, I'm going to predict a snub for her just because there's always a random huge snub at SAG. Michelle Williams and The Fabelmans, I remember. Right. Like Kristen Stewart and Spencer. That was when she felt like at the top at that moment. So I was just going to predict it, but I can't do it. I have her in.
Yeah, if there were like 8 amazing contenders in supporting actress, I could see like maybe Felicity Jones dropping out at a couple places, but I feel like that film is so strong, and she's not in the first half, but the second half of like she gets a lot to do in that movie. I just feel like it's one of the stronger performances in this category. So yeah, I mean those have been like, well, not Ariana Grande, but 3 of those I've had in for a long time. Grande is a new addition. So who do you have in 5th place? I have a couple alternate, like I have some people here I'm feeling strongly about, but who is your choice for 5th place in supporting actress?
So I feel strongly about no one right now. I like just no thoughts going in. I could do like the double Amelia Perez thing. That'd be easy to do. That would make sense. But I want to take another swing because why not? Okay. So I'm going to go with, I didn't even mean for this to happen. I'm going to go with another Netflix movie. I promise I'm not just doing that but there's always a random one. I remember like Penelope Cruz and Ferrari. That was like so random to me. Or like Cate Blanchett and Nightmare Alley. And I know those are obviously incredibly established actors. I am just going to go with Natasha Lyonne for His 3 Daughters.
Whoa.
I don't if you're gonna ask me why, I'm just be like, I don't even know. Like, why not? You know, I got to come on here on your channel. I got to make a statement. You know, but I don't know. It feels like just one of those random performances that gets in, like Adam Sandler and Hustle. Even I keep bringing that up, but I didn't want to do the Amelia Perez thing. Ingenue Ellis Taylor, that doesn't feel like a SAG thing. I could buy it for the Oscar. I can't buy it for SAG. So, you know, like, why not?
That's interesting. I do not have her as an alternate. I saw the film.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I saw the film. She's very good in that. I think something that hurts her is that all three of the actresses in that movie are great. And like, I didn't personally see like, well, the other two were fine, but oh my God, Leone was incredible. Like, I thought Carrie Coon was also really good in
she was
that.
great,
So I feel like the hard part there is that it's a very, very small movie. Like, it's mostly in like an apartment. Yeah. And, you know, it's like, I would love to see her get in. Like, I think Leone will get in like Film Independent Spirit, right? Like that will probably happen.
Yeah. I'm not going to push back on anything you say about like why that was such a weird pick. Not going to push back at all.
It could. Like, maybe, like, is there, like, has Leone ever gotten a SAG nomination before? Like individual for anything? I don't know. Like, she's great. I love her.
Maybe in TV. Not 100% sure.
So I have decided at SAG to go with, in that fifth slot, Selena Gomez for Amelia Perez.
Yeah. That's a smart pick.
I don't think Selena Gomez is going to get in at the Oscars. I think her slot will go to like an Isabella Rossellini or an Ingenue Ellis Taylor at the Oscars. But I think at SAG, like, she's having a moment right now with Only Murders in the Building, and she's also very good in Amelia Perez. And I think with the movie being considered in a variety of categories and, you know, people already watching it, and, you know, seeing the performances of Carla and Zoe, and I just feel like in a category that doesn't have like a really strong fifth place slot, like there's not someone who's just like a clear favorite there. I think Selena Gomez probably gets it. I mean, Meryl Streep hosted a screening of it recently. They did a Q&A. Meryl Streep. So I'm like, maybe that's enough. I don't know.
Maybe that's the smart pick. Like, and if I'm being honest, the document that I'm looking at on my phone, I have Selena Gomez in my 5. I literally just wanted to pull an audible and just change it like within the last like 10 minutes or so. But I do agree, like, I don't have her getting Oscar nominated. She could get nominated legitimately everywhere, and I feel like the Oscars would still kind of like gatekeeper. And maybe it's because I've heard of, like, you know, I don't follow TV quite as closely as film, but I do know for like some SAG and like Emmy stuff, she has been like snubbed before when she was expected like to get in. Okay. So maybe that is like subconsciously bleeding into my mind, but that's a smart pick. That's a smart pick. That's what I have written down. I literally just wanted to be interesting.
Yeah, no, I toyed with Isabella Rossellini for Conclave. I still think she's just not in the movie enough. But I feel like we might all be proven wrong down the road. Like, even if she misses at a few places, like, I'm getting the sense that she might get in at BAFTA, that BAFTA's really going to like Conclave and give it a bunch of nominations. Like, I don't see the Academy, like, at the Oscars, I don't see them nominating in supporting actress both Ariana Grande and Selena Gomez. I just don't see it. Like, that would be surprising. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like one like veteran performer, like someone over 50 who's been around a while, gets in at the Oscars. Yeah. And that's why I'm like, man, it could be Rossellini at the end of the day, like, even if she misses. But I think at SAG, I just don't know if there's enough for her to do in the movie, like for actors to really respond to, whereas Selena Gomez is all over Amelia Perez. So that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have Rossellini. Like, there's Ingenue Ellis. There's even like a Margaret Qualley if someone really believes in the substance.
She's my other alternate. Like, I would be surprised if at any ceremony this year, Margaret Qualley gets into supporting actress, but Demi Moore does not get into actress. That'd be weird to me. Wouldn't that be weird?
Yeah. That just feels wrong. But then again, like, that kind of speaks to the category, though. Like lead actress is tough. right?
Yeah.
But like supporting actress, it feels pretty wide open still.
Yeah, it's just tricky to think like that anyone would go to bat for Quali like over more just because there's more wiggle room in supporting actress. She gets in, but like best actress to me more is like an 8th place. Like, I don't know, it just feels weird.
Yeah,
So,
no, I agree. I agree.
I would love to see Quali get in somewhere. Like she could get in at Golden Globes. Like that might happen. Like that would be really cool. Because I think Moore is definitely getting in at Golden Globes. So I think the substance, if it does well anywhere this season, it'll be at the Globes. I think that's where it does well.
Definitely, yeah.
So, but,
for
and then
sure.
we'll get our hopes up. We'll be like, oh my God, it's happening. And then...
and then just pain on heartbreak.
Yeah. So, yeah, supporting actress, I mean, it could go a few ways. Like, I wouldn't even be shocked if Deadweiler missed. Like, if they just didn't go for the piano lesson. That could totally
happen, yeah.
So, absolutely. There could be some surprises there. But at SAG in supporting actress, I have Zoe Saldana, Amelia Perez, Ariana Grande, Wicked, Felicity Jones, The Brutalist, Danielle Deadweiler, The Piano Lesson, and Selena Gomez, Amelia Perez. You in that 5th place slot are going with Natasha Lyonne for His Three Daughters.
Yep, swinging. That's a swing right there. That's a swinging right there.
Next up is Best Supporting Actor at SAG. At the top of my list is Guy Pearce for The Brutalist. Like, I think he could win. He could be like this season's Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer, like to Cillian Murphy, the way that I think Adrian Brody's probably going to win a lot for The Brutalist. Guy Pearce gives a very good performance in that movie. And he's an actor I have adored going back to LA Confidential and Memento. He's so great. He's never received like any big nominations, really. So like this is going to be his moments. And I think he's definitely getting in at SAG.
Yeah, I have him at SAG as well. I don't know if I would have him winning, even though I would prefer he won over the person I'm predicting, just personally. But he is great. Where his character goes in the second half worries me a little bit, just in terms of that. But I do see the path. I'm just kind of thinking in my head, do I think The Brutalist is going to take home 2 awards at SAG, which feels like a lot, even though I know it's only 2 for something that I don't feel is like some huge Oppenheimer juggernaut. But Guy Pearce is like number 2, maybe.
Yeah. If not number 1, I think he's in the top 2 or 3. Like he's very, very strong in that movie. Yeah, it would be weird, like, at SAG if, like, Best Actor went to Brody, Best Supporting Actor went to Pierce, Supporting Actress went to Jones, but then the movie didn't win cast.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
The math isn't quite there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Pierce doesn't give, like, a crowd-pleasing performance. It is very dark, and especially in the second half, as you say. So, like, I could see him, like, maybe he just gets in everywhere, but he doesn't win. Like, there's not a narrative there. He's kind of a first-time nominee, and we don't have to award him necessarily. That could happen. Who is your choice to win supporting actor at SAG?
Kind of reluctantly, because I planted my flag early on this movie. Earlier in the year, but now that we've seen a bunch of movies kind of falter off and whatever, I will have Kieran Culkin at number 1. Okay. He's obviously been huge for SAG, whether you want to attribute that to him, to Succession, to a combination of both. The fact is he's won before. It feels like everyone loves him. He is insanely charismatic. He is out there pushing. And if A Real Pain, again, for the Oscars, like a Best Picture thing that's on the mind, depending on how A Complete Unknown does, if A Real Pain is definitively Searchlight's number 1, which maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I think it might just happen.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot. I remember I saw A Real Pain at Sundance last January, and I walked out and I thought, man, he was freaking phenomenal in that movie. Could he get an Oscar nomination for that? And it's like the whole year it's been like, it looks like it could happen. And right now, it's looking pretty good. I mean, he does have the advantage of being in the whole movie, right?
Yeah.
The whole thing.
he's like the starting opening shot and the final shot.
Yeah, it like opens and ends with him.
Yeah.
Like that's a much different kind of supporting performance than Isabella Rossellini in Conclave.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
it's like,
Definitely.
which of the 82 scenes of Kieran Culkin do we like the best in the supporting role? But yeah, he is, I mean, he steals that movie. He's so great. I love Kieran Culkin, always have. He's never received an Oscar nomination. Like he obviously got some noms and wins for Succession, but in film, there hasn't been much. Like
Right.
he got a Golden Globe nomination for Igby Goes Down like 20 years ago.
The heck? Never even heard of that.
Yeah, it's like this coming of age movie. But yeah, like, is he going to win everywhere is the question I have. I feel like that is the safe prediction because Guy Pearce in The Brutalist is a colder performance. And then the other person, who I'll mention here in a moment, who has been talked about as maybe a front runner, having now seen the movie, I'm not getting that sense. Kieran Culkin could be like our winner this year in supporting actor. Like A Real Pain as a movie is really fun. It's really great. It's a crowd pleaser. I think it could get into picture at the Oscars, like in slot 9 or 10, like that could happen. I think it's getting into original screenplay for sure.
Yeah.
So if we want to give that movie a win somewhere, it's going to be Culkin.
Yeah. Like, I don't even know if I would have Culkin, like, winning the Oscar. But at least for SAG, he feels like a safe choice. Like, I feel like Guy Pearce walks in with the BAFTA in his hand already. Like, I can't see, like, Kieran Culkin winning the BAFTA or anything like that. But for SAG, I would go with Kieran Culkin for now.
It's funny how we start each award season by saying, well, you know, so-and-so could win a Critics' Choice, and then this person could get SAG, and then ultimately that person could win the Oscar. And as we learn year to year is that for the most part, it's just like sweeps. Like Lily Gladstone at SAG was the only suspense last time. That was it.
Yeah, that's true.
So sometimes we'll get a season where Angela Bassett wins supporting actress at Golden Globes and Critics' Choice. And then someone else wins a BAFTA, like Jamie Lee Curtis wins at SAG and the Oscar. Sometimes there is a category that's like chaotic enough where we do get 3 different winners throughout the season. But sometimes it's just like the same person every time. And that isn't that boring? Don't you hate that?
Yeah, no, the same person. Sweeps are just like, I remember like the 2019 where it was like Brad Pitt, Renee Zellweger, Joaquin Phoenix. I was like, oh my God, it was so boring.
You know, boring. I wasn't really passionate about any of those 4 performances. They were all solid, I guess. But like, did Laura Dern have to sweep for Marriage Story?
Oh yeah.
What the hell was that?
All 4 sweeps. So I was like, come on.
It's like we could have had a surprise somewhere along the way.
Yeah, sure.
Stupid. So yeah, the third person is Denzel Washington for Gladiator 2. When that movie started, you know, screening a few weeks back, like some people were saying he's the front runner. He is like, you know, he is just a scene stealer in this. Like, I just saw Gladiator 2 and he's solid in it. He's very good. I don't see that as being like a winning performance, really. Like, I think the movie isn't strong enough and he's in a lot of it. He's got a lot of scenes, but he's just kind of doing his Denzel thing. That was how I reacted to it. So
yeah,
like, I think everybody loves him and he'll probably get nominated, but I don't see him pulling offenses at SAG and he like wins for Gladiator 2. That would be surprising to me.
Yeah, I can't go that far with that. I agree. He is kind of just doing the Denzel thing, which is enough. That is more than enough for a nomination here. SAG does like love Denzel Washington. I mean, obviously with the Oscars, he'll get nominated for Roman J. Israel Esquire, a movie that I'm still not 100% sure exists. I've never seen it. But yeah,
I've seen clips.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen some images. But yeah, he just feels good for a nomination. Kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's going to happen.
It would be his 10th Oscar nomination, which is cool. Like very few actors have 10 or more. Denzel deserves to be in that club, I think. So that would be great.
Definitely.
I think he's in for sure. Like that's like a SAG nomination. Absolutely. I don't see him winning necessarily. This is a big question mark for me. I still have him in at SAG. Like if this movie gets into Best Cast and it's like, it's popular enough, I still have Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing. In some ways, I was more moved by his performance than by Coleman Domingo. I thought Macklin was great, but he's kind of an unknown. And I'm like, if Sing Sing drops off a little bit, Domingo is enough of a name where I still think he can make it into actor. Clarence Macklin, I'm not super confident about, but I feel like if enough voters watch that movie, like how could you not nominate him in supporting actor?
Yeah, totally. And it just depends, like you said, it depends on how you, as an individual, view how Sing Sing is going to do. I am not really faltering on Sing Sing, at least in terms of overall package. So yeah, I have him in. And again, like if Sing Sing really does have a like legitimate comeback, because I know the cliche thing is like, oh, what's the small movie with the big heart?
Yeah, the like, Coda.
Yeah, the Coda. Everyone's looking for the next Coda. Like Sing Sing fits the package there at least. It just depends on how you think it's gonna do. It makes sense to have Macklin at 4. I have him like 3 or 4, whichever. But also, if Sing Sing does legitimately come back, like I think he could win. Also, I really do, because SAG is not afraid to give an unknown that award. I think of Troy Kotzer. I know Ke Huy Quan was in the business a while, but as an actor, he was still kind of getting back into things, and like there you go. So it depends again how you feel about that movie, but I have him getting a nomination. I agree.
Wouldn't that be something? Like really shake up the award season at SAG, like Macklin,
awesome.
Domingo, and the cast win.
That'd be so crazy. That'd be so crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be like, oh, them bungling that release last summer didn't matter ultimately.
Yeah. Exactly.
I will be surprised if Macklin misses there. I think he gets in. 5th place can go a couple different directions. Who do you have as in the final slot for supporting actor?
Yeah, a few different choices. I can't even tell if this is like the safe pick or not, but I will just kind of default to a veteran established actor. Which again also fits the bill for other people, but I'll go with Edward Norton in A Complete Unknown.
Same here. That's also my choice for the final slot. Edward Norton, like I'm hearing it's a standout performance in the movie, right?
Yeah, he's gotten some shouts for sure.
I haven't seen the film yet, so I feel like I have to watch it to really get a sense of how he does. But yeah, Edward Norton is one of those actors everybody really likes. He gets a lot of nominations. He's had 3 Oscar nominations throughout the years. And like he's got a prosthetic nose, right? That helps.
Yeah, something like that. They like push the hairline all the way back or something. So
yeah. I don't know if A Complete Unknown is getting into Best Picture at the Oscars. Like, there's been enough kind of mixed reviews.
Yeah.
I'm wondering about that. But I feel like Edward Norton could ride the coattails a little bit of Timothée Chalamet and get into supporting actor, since there's not a ton of competition there.
Right. It could just be like a totally like actors movie where they're just impressed. They're playing all real people. And so like, here's some acting nominations. But as a movie, they're like, we can leave it.
So we have the same 5 for the first time in this video, right?
Guess so. Good stuff.
My main alternate is Stanley Tucci for Conclave.
Same.
I don't think he's out of it. I think we might be sleeping on him a little bit. He might get in a couple places, even if he doesn't make it at the Oscars. Like, I don't know. Like, Conclave has been very popular, and more so than John Lithgow. I think like Stanley Tucci has a few notable scenes with Fiennes in that movie. And he's also an actor everybody adores. So like Stanley Tucci, like he could be a SAG nominee for Conclave. I think that could happen. Totally.
Yeah, he's my main alternate as well. And he has again like a lot of things going for him, where he's that veteran actor, he's hugely respected in a good movie. At least in terms of Oscars, like if Conclave overperforms, this is a category that you would look to see if it picked up an extra nomination, and I can see it.
Yeah, like he's definitely the main alternate. I mean, I have 2 other names here. I have Yura Borisov for Anora. I don't think that would happen at SAG.
I agree.
I think based on the strength of the film, he could get in at the end of the day at the Oscars. Like if there's enough love for that movie and we want to give it one more nomination in a top category. Like he's picking up steam. Like I'm feeling better about him with each passing week. I just don't see that being a SAG nomination. That would be surprising to me. My absolute wild card pick is J.K. Simmons for Saturday Night.
Oh wow.
As Milton Berle. Berle. Because I'm like, as we'll talk about, I feel like Saturday Night has a shot at cast at SAG.
Yeah.
I don't have it in, but I have it like as a maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I always go back to J.K. Simmons got the Oscar nomination for Being the Ricardos, so never count him out.
So weird. Such a random nomination.
He's got one really great, he's got two great moments in Saturday Night when he's like singing on stage. It's pretty great. And that scene where he tells off Chevy Chase when he's talking to the girl, like he's got two really good scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
When I walked out, I thought, well, I guess Gabriel LaBelle gets the Golden Globe nomination for musical or comedy. Could anyone else in that movie get something along the way? Like J.K. Simmons is pretty beloved, so you never know. I think that would be pretty surprising. I don't see it happening, but he is a standout, I would say, in Saturday Nights. So, like, maybe.
Yeah. Nothing would shock me anymore, especially with those actors. My, again, swing in the alternates. I haven't seen this movie. I have a screener for it. I just haven't put it in. But I've heard enough shouts, and I feel like he's in the bottom half of a lot of people's 10. But Brian Tyree Henry in The Fire Inside, I heard is good. He does play a coach, I believe. So those kind of roles you would think would have some moments. Again, I haven't seen it. But he has been nominated before, so he's been recognized. He does a lot of great work like every single year. So that is my alternate, or one of them.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't see that movie at TIFF. I think it played there. Like, I don't know if it just... I wanted to see it. Like, it was on my list, and I just never got around to it. I've heard it's very good, and he's excellent in it. Yeah, we'll see if that movie, like, has any steam, like, moving forward. I think you're right that he could be, like, the surprise, like, shocker SAG nominee if there's enough people watching that movie and really loving his performance. Didn't he get the Oscar nomination for Causeway after only getting in at Critics' Choice?
Correct.
I think it was just Critics' Choice, nothing else.
Just Critics' Choice.
And then he got the Oscar.
Boom, there you go. Yep.
So, it depends on how well that movie does coming up here. But that could happen, too. That's probably more likely than J.K. Simmons. But I don't know.
Hey, you never know. Never know.
All right, so for the first and maybe only time in this video, we have the same 5 for supporting actor at SAG. They are Guy Pearce, The Brutalist, Denzel Washington, Gladiator 2, Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain, Clarence Macklin, Sing Sing, and Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown. But watch out for Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, exactly. Watch out.
All right, that takes us to our final category, Best Cast. Like, the best picture of SAG. Best Cast. I'm struggling more with this one in a way than the other ones because there's like a good 7 I could see absolutely getting in. And it's tricky because you start thinking like, well, that movie has a great cast of 20 people versus this one that really has like 4 or 5. I have Anora. Do we have Anora?
We have Anora.
Okay. Like, we have Anora. Are there enough people in the movie? I think so.
I think we have enough. We have enough. This feels like, even though we both only have Mikey Madison getting a nomination, that doesn't necessarily mean it's out for Ensemble. That's just not the way it works. I think of Banshee's gotten every single category except Ensemble, where it was like where it could have. So it doesn't necessarily follow that. I think of like Parasite, no individual SAG nominations. So it was nominated here, and obviously it won. The Ensemble just is genuinely too strong. Like for Anora, the fact that people, I know we're kind of gravitating towards Yura Borisov, but depending on who you ask, there's so many different standouts of other actors besides Mikey Madison.
Right.
And they are like, international actors, which I think they like to award as an overall thing more than individual. And Anora, I just believe, will be strong everywhere. So I have to have it here.
Yeah. I mean, I always go back to Sideways won Best Cast. And that's 4 people. So you never know. It doesn't have to be like anything less than 10. Like, they can't get in. Like, I think Anora, like, especially for supporting actor, there's so many great contenders there. It's like, I mean, I could have any one of those, like 4 other guys, like, get in, and I'd be like, great, makes sense. So yeah, I think that gets in. I have Conclave. Conclave gets into Ensemble, right? No?
I took another swing.
Okay.
I took another swing. I can explain.
This category is giving me a headache. What do you have next as a big swing?
So, if I switched out my swing with Conclave, you know, I won't spoil it, but I would then have all nominees being Best Picture nominees at the Oscars. And I just don't believe that happens. So I think of like The Color Purple last year. I think of Babylon before that. I think of House of Gucci before that. I think of One Night in Miami before that. Like Crazy Rich Asians, like there's usually like at least one that doesn't get it for Best Picture.
A movie that gets into Ensemble at SAG that doesn't get a Best Picture nomination?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Correct. So because of that and only that, and I realize that is like following too many stats, but again, these are predictions, like whatever. I had to make a choice, and for some reason I just landed on Conclave. There's usually like an easy choice that just doesn't happen for whatever reason. And even though this isn't my number 2, obviously, I guess I'll just say what my swing is now. It would be my number 5, but the one that fits the bill for some of those movies, like, you know, the ones I just mentioned, I will take a big swing for a movie that I don't know if people are paying attention to like that, or even like, but Ensemble, it makes sense to me. I'll put The Piano Lesson in.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's my swing. Got to take one out.
I think Deadweiler would have to get in a way. Like that would surprise me if she didn't get into supporting actress, but the movie got into cast.
Right.
That's because we're not. Yeah, I mean, it is a very impressive ensemble cast. They do good work in the movie. It's not the award for the best film of the year. It's for the best acting ensemble. So yeah, I mean, like I think Critics' Choice has an ensemble category. Like I could see Piano Lesson showing up there.
Yeah.
Netflix recent release. Like it could have enough stamina. Like it gets in there. That's not a crazy prediction. I don't have that because I wasn't thinking about it. That makes sense. Okay, you wouldn't have that near the top. That'd be like your fifth place.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have Conclave. So you don't have Conclave. You have instead of Conclave. Okay,
I switched them out.
You know, Conclave, it's got like those 4 kind of big names in the cast, and then there are a few other people in the film that make an impact. I don't know. I just feel like that movie is so strong and it's so beloved. I would be surprised if it didn't get. It's very much an ensemble film. Like every scene, it's like there's a big ensemble of actors in that movie.
Yeah,
you know, if Rossellini, let's say, doesn't get in anywhere all season, she could at least get a SAG Ensemble nomination. You know, there could be that. So I'm kind of leaning toward Conclave. I think Amelia Perez gets in, right?
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean,
agreed.
It's going to show up in at least 2 other categories, 2 other nominations in other categories. It's you know, it's not a huge ensemble. Like, what is Amelia Perez? Like 5 people, 6?
I guess
that would be nominated.
Like 5 or 6.
But like of all the movies this year, that's one that just feels like an ensemble prize. Like the ensemble, like that was the best actress win at Cannes.
Right,
was like the ensemble of the movie. So that feels like that will happen. I feel like SAG voters are really going to love Amelia Perez. And then what do you have next? I'm not as confident in this category as the other one.
Yeah. So again, based on how you feel, I have Sing Sing.
Yes, I have Sing Sing, and it's like if they go for it, if they like it, they all watch it. Like that has to get into ensemble. That could win.
I mean, the story and narrative behind that cast is just like, how can you not? Like, it makes you feel good voting for them. That's the thing you got to look for also. So I think that gets in.
I mean, wouldn't that be something? Even if it didn't win actor or supporting actor, but Sing Sing took best cast at SAG, that would be a moment.
That'd be great.
That'd be huge.
Yeah, all of them on stage, like, geez.
Yeah, that's a narrative. Like, that would be an emotional ending to the show. It'd be really fantastic. I can see it happening.
Oh,
if
definitely.
enough people watch it. So
absolutely.
I think that gets in. Now, 5th place is tricky. Like, I'm like, well, it's probably The Brutalist, but in a weird way, I do not look at that movie as an amazing ensemble piece. Like, there are other actors in the film. There's at least 2 or 3 that are very good. But I really, when I think back on that movie, I think of it as like a 3-hander. It's like those 3 performances. I don't really look at that as an ensemble piece.
Yeah.
So for my final slot, even though I think that movie, kind of like you said with Banshees, I think The Brutalist gets into actor, supporting actress. I think it misses ensemble, and my final slot goes to Wicked.
Yes, I have Wicked. I have Wicked as well.
Okay.
That's the exact same reasoning for The Brutalist. For whatever reason, like, no one looks at that movie as an ensemble.
Right.
No one looks at it that way. But whereas Wicked, even though I know, obviously there's Grande and Arrivo standouts, it does feel huge, though. Like, that world feels huge. There's Michelle Yeoh there, Jeff Goldblum, Jonathan Bailey. I mean, even Peter Dinklage is like the GOAT or something. Yeah. So I agree with you. I have Wicked in.
Yeah. Does Bowen Yang get a nomination?
Oh, was he credited individually?
Does he get a SAG nomination?
Not sure. Probably
for his
right?
one-liners.
Maybe.
Yeah, I just I remember back in the day, Hairspray got into SAG Ensemble, like a movie that got nominated for nothing else that night. It did get into Ensemble. They like musicals. Musicals typically do well.
Definitely.
It's doing extraordinarily well at the box office. People really love Wicked. So I feel like even if Arrivo misses Best Actress at SAG, like, the movie probably gets into Best Cast.
Yeah,
right?
Wicked.
Over, like I don't see The Brutalist getting into ensemble over Wicked. I just don't see that.
I don't see it either. Like, something like, even like Marriage Story, like, which had a very good ensemble. I remember there was some talk about that, but people at the end of the day, they think of Adam Driver, Scarlett Johansson, Laura Dern, and they, like, their brain stops. With The Brutalist, it's with The Brutalist, it's kind of the same thing. They think of Brody, they think of Guy Pearce, Felicity Jones. Even though Joe Alwyn does great, everyone else does great, stopped after 3. I don't see it happening. Yeah,
it really is kind of like 3 people we're thinking about weeks after The Brutalist, whereas Wicked, there's like 6, 7 performances, in that movie that and it's very much an ensemble piece of so many people together throughout the film. I mean, it's hard because it's like, wow, The Brutalist could get 3 nominations in individual categories, but not ensemble. But as you said, that does happen here and there.
Happens. Yep.
So yeah, I think for cast it's going to be Wicked. So for Best Cast at SAG, I have Honora, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Sing Sing, and Wicked. Instead of Conclave, you have
The Piano Lesson.
Lesson. I can see that. That's possible. Yeah.
I mean, they nominated Babylon. No one likes Babylon, I guess, except for like me and like 20 other people. So it can happen.
Yeah, Fences did really well there a few years ago, and August Wilson play. There's a lot of good stuff in Piano Lesson, even though I had some issues with the movie. The ensemble of that film is strong. So Samuel L. Jackson could get a big nomination after all.
There you go. The prophecy came true.
My choice in like April of like the front runner to win Best Supporting Actor was Samuel L. Jackson for The Piano Lesson.
Same.
And then I saw the film.
Yeah. No shame in that.
It's okay. All right. That takes us to the end here, Jonathan. This was so much fun to talk early SAG predictions with you. If you can tell our viewers where they can find you online, even though I think most of them probably know where to find you, now would be the time.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. Always good to talk to you. You can find me at The Film Drunk on YouTube, Twitter, Letterboxd, Instagram. It should be easy to pop up.
Yeah, thanks again for being here. I would love to have you back at some point. It's been really fun chatting these awards predictions with you. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and I will see you next time at the Awards Contender.